I used to have a handle on my life, but it broke. So begins Barbara Barth's humorous, touching, and just honest book called The Unfaithful Widow. It's a collection of essays about finding joy again after the loss of a mate. Barbara joins us this morning to talk about the book. Hey, Barbara, good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Can I just tell you, I love this book because you leave no stone unturned. You talk about everything from, of course, the pain of your loss to dating again to condoms. Why did you decide to get so personal in the book?
Well, I had actually a reviewer say to me that she felt I did get personal. She knew what kind of bra I wore and how many, what kind of panties I wore.
Right.
I just decided I'm very personal about everything I talk about, and the book was going to read like I talk.
And it did. It really did. And the other thing that you were pretty candid about is you were with your husband 25 years, married for the last 5 years. And after he died, Barbara, you started dating pretty quickly, and I think some might question why you got out there so fast. You even questioned it yourself.
And I had actually an author I know questioned. She said, "Did you meet somebody or just cold-bloodedly go out to date?" Well, I went out to date. I know. It's like a knife in my heart.
Right.
But she got me thinking, and I went out there because I needed something to do.
Okay.
I don't have kids. I'm retired. I had a small antique business, and I just needed to get out and see what was going on in life rather than sit and be sad.
Well, speaking of what's going on in life, 62 years old, you're proud of it. But as I said, you'd been with your husband 25 years, so condoms weren't really something you had to worry about or think about until you got back out on the dating scene. And let me tell you, you write about that with such humor in the book. Explain to our viewers a little bit about your adventures in this area.
Yeah. Well, it's more talking than doing, so
yes.
let me make that clear. I have a phrase in there that says, while there were condoms in my discussions on first dates, there were no second dates. I didn't have any female friends my age who were dating. And all I remember is being younger, you didn't want to get pregnant.
Right.
And I actually had a male friend bring this up to me who works with nurses groups. So I went on my own journey, and on my first dates, I would ask, well, what do you do about condoms?
You asked your dates this?
Yes. And at my first dinner with this one guy, we got talking, and I said, well, what do you do about condoms? And we got very good service that night, because the waiter wanted to hear the answer to that.
So he kept coming back, listening to what I remember that part. Yeah.
And then I think, unfortunately, the guy thought I wanted to use one with him. But I was just trying to get a feel on what were people doing now, because when I was dating, it was really, sex was safe, and you just didn't want to get pregnant. And then, so this is what I asked of my dates, because I didn't have girlfriends to ask.
What an opening line.
Yes.
What an opening line. And there are a lot of other hilarious moments in the book. You talk about the guy who looked nothing like his picture, right, on the dating service website. You talk about the guy who actually tried to kiss you on the first date. And you also talk about the guy who kind of stood you up. I wouldn't say stood you up, but it was like the quickest date, as you say, quickest date around. And I want to read a little bit of that as well, because it was just so funny. In the book, you say, "The door flung open, and a tall, thin, well-dressed man rushed in." Now, you were already there, by the way, sitting there waiting for him. So the door flings open.
Very cheeky.
Yep, a tall, thin, well-dressed man rushed in. That must be him, I thought. He was frantically looking around, and I'm not even sure he noticed me. I stood up to get his attention, smiled at him, and started to say hi. Before I could finish the greeting, he looked at me and said, "I've left something in the car. I'll be right back." With that, he dashed back out the coffee shop door. I stood there for a moment and then sat back down at the table. He's not coming back, I thought. Then I started laughing.
Well, it was funny because I really didn't want to meet him, but I needed to get out. So I had on my vintage clothes, my vintage turquoise, and I went there. And I say in the book that that date probably was one of the best dates around, because it had all the anticipation of leading up to it and none of the stress of dealing with it.
Right.
So, my whole thing was I just wanted to get out of the house. And it was funny.
Just all of these things in the book are so interesting, but you say a lot of these bad dates actually led to some great things. For example, you got a job through a bad date, you got a Corvette through a bad date as well, and you also have all your lovely, wonderful dogs as well to keep you company. Ultimately, what would you like viewers, Barbara, to take away from The Unfaithful Widow?
To be brave and to get out there and do something to kickstart your life again. We all have loss. In my case, it was the death of my husband, but it could be any type of loss. And you have a choice. You can sit there and you can feel sorry for yourself. You can be sad, or you can go, I'm in this life and I'm going to make the best of it. And that's what I wanted to do. And I hit on issues that to me were funny, and I was hoping that maybe they would help other women go, well, that's not so bad. I think I can do that too.
Sure.
And try their own way. But yeah, those bad dates, I did get a job from him.
Yeah, you got a lot of great things.
You have to read about those.
Yeah.
But I found that if you open up to the universe and you just try things, the universe will bring you what you need, and in unexpected ways.
But despite all of that, the bad dates, the funny dates, you actually started rescuing dogs. But you say the dogs actually rescued you.
They did, and I had my old dog. I had a dog that died, and then I got rescuing dogs, and in 9 months I got 5 dogs.
Wow.
From Animal Action Rescue, in Atlanta, Georgia, my favorite rescue place, and I try and work to raise money for them.
Well, great cause, and I have to tell you, Barbara, really great book, so funny.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you being here with us this morning on The Balancing Act. And I want to let our viewers know, again, the book is called The Unfaithful Widow. If you would like more information about Barbara or about the book, please visit her website at barbarabarth.net.